You are now joining the meeting.
Hello, this is Derek from Sports Info. Can you hear me all right?
You never sounded better, Derek.
Excellent. Okay, well, we just
Don't feed his ego, Chuck.
Wait till you see my haircut.
Oh, my.
We just finished practice here. I'm going to turn it over to Coach before we head off to the airport.
Okay. Obviously this is a very, very, very quick turnaround. So we, pretty quickly moved on to Rutgers once we got in yesterday for practice. Talked a little bit about some things I felt like we needed to clean up, some transition defense things from the other night. Just a couple sloppy areas here and there where I thought we could have been a little bit better. And then moved right away to Rutgers. So we didn't mentally and physically, much more of a mental practice yesterday. Thought that was smart, as quick as the turnaround is. So we spent a lot of time with film and walkthrough and taking care of their bodies. And Fletch does a great job, he and Schmitty, of making sure the guys get what they need physically for recovery. Today we came in this morning and we practiced really short but really, really hard. Had a good spirit about us. The guys were very locked in. I thought our attention to detail was good. And, now we head into tomorrow's game. And, obviously with Rutgers, Sanders had 38 on us last year. Laurent had 23. It was a triple overtime game. Our guys know. Got great respect, obviously, for all of their players. But, they saw the clips, obviously, of Sanders going at us and how difficult he is to defend. And they've added a kid who transferred that was sitting out, Nigel Johnson from Kansas State, which has some of the same qualities. Both those guys are able to get their own shot and make others better, not only within their offense, but outside their offense by just making plays. They're very tough covers. They get 36% of their offensive rebounds back, 15 offensive rebounds a game, which is second in the league. And obviously transition, I'm concerned because the two guards that spearhead that, Johnson and Sanders, are so electric and can get in the paint and really put pressure on your defense, which leads to rotations and leads to their gaudy offensive rebounding numbers. Defensively, they're, like us in the, between 50 and 75 nationally and very good defensively, and they rebound it very well. They're very physical. They play a lot of guys that allows them to play, I think, really, really hard with a lot of energy and to defend you with a lot of energy, where they're really, really good on that end of the floor. So, we've got to be ready to go. We've taken it one day at a time at this point for a long time now. That hasn't changed yesterday or today as we, finish our preparation here tonight. Once we get to the hotel, we'll have a little bit more film, and then tomorrow we wake up early and got to be ready to go at 11 a.m. our time. Questions?
John, this is Mark. You said you guys have moved past that. The fans, at least the ones I talked to, they haven't moved past it. Is this harder? It was so emotional the other night. It was a big win, and for a lot of reasons, the senior night certainly amplified that. But has this been any harder, or have they just refocused?
Well, I'm hoping they've refocused. That's the approach that we've taken. It really, really helps when you've got, the voice, Abrams, is in those guys' ear, and, he's talking to them, as soon as the game was over the other night about, hey, we got to get ready for the next one. So that helps. Obviously, he's a dominant voice in the locker room. He was here early today for the morning practice. He had guys going, clapping, talking to them. Did the same thing yesterday about our approach in terms of how we're going to approach the workout yesterday and approach today. And so he really helps because he's an extension. So that helps, and then the older guys help as well. But, is it a concern? Sure, it's always a concern, because I think, when you have an emotional win, you can let your guard down. We've talked about that and how that leads to inconsistency, and, that's not what we're about. And, we're going to uphold our standards and hold all of ourselves accountable to what we need to get done. And so that's been our approach the last 2 days. In hopes that we, it pays off for us tomorrow at 11.
Hey, John, this is Ron. A bit of strategy talk. Just a few years back, all the coaches, or a lot of coaches, were fouling with seconds to go and with a 3-point lead. And nobody's doing it now. You didn't do it now, and I don't see anybody. Why has that changed, or has it changed?
No, I don't know if it's changed a whole lot. I think it just depends on situational, who you're playing, Are they a great rebounding team if you put them to the line? Are you worried about that? Where's the ball being inbounded? Is it a spot or is it a make? How much time's on the clock relative to where the ball is being rebounded or inbounded? I think all those things come into play. We talked about it obviously in the timeout because we've done both previously, throughout our tenure here, and the staff's been together for a while, even even when we were in Ohio. So we made the decision not to do it the other night, and fortunately it worked out for us.
Hey, John. Yeah, this is Scott. With Rutgers has a lot of the same players, but the new coach. Have you seen them do things differently at all under Steve?
Well, I mean, I won't necessarily get into comparisons, but the one thing that I do appreciate about them, and it reminds me a little bit of playing Penn State, because I've always had great respect for how hard and how physical and Pat's teams play, and I do think you see that when you watch them. You don't defend at a top 60 level nationally unless you're competing your tail off. It's not possible. You look at the teams that are in that range and better defensively, and you have to compete. You're not getting 15 offensive rebounds a night at a 36% clip, which is 14th in the nation, unless you're going to the glass really hard and competing on the backboard. So the thing I've noticed is how hard they compete, how hard they play, how physical they are. They've got an edge to them. Do I notice that more than last year preparing for them? Honestly, I'd say yes, I do. So certainly give Steve a lot of credit for that.
And you mentioned their offensive rebounding a couple times, and they're clearly really good at it. The rest of their maybe offensive metrics aren't quite as high, but I guess there's always the chance that if you pull down so many that they can do something good with that. Yeah,
no question. And for me, I look more at percentage, Raw number, obviously, certainly an indicator, but percentage applies to everybody, regardless of how efficient you are offensively. When you're getting 36+% back, that gets my attention. That's, like I said, that's 14th in the country. So they're great on the glass, and they do it from multiple positions, their perimeters included. So obviously it's a big concern. You start giving teams second chance points and more opportunities and allows them to win the possession battle, then that's an issue. You're shooting yourself in the foot. We've got to be competitive on the backboard tomorrow night. It's a real key.
John, does that triple overtime game help zero in the focus?
I don't know, Top. Obviously every one of these games, our guys know. You just got to follow our league. Night in, night out. Anybody can beat anybody. We're very well with that. We're humbled by that. We know we have to play well. We've been playing well, but that doesn't mean it's an automatic tomorrow. We have to bring the same attitude, the same disposition, the same physicality, same focus, the edge, the effort that we've had. We got to bring that again tomorrow at 11 o'clock if you want to play well again. It's not like snapping your fingers. You got to play. So we've talked about that, but at this point, it's, I've been sharing with them for a while now. Actions speak louder than words, and we've had good action lately, and we're going to have that again tomorrow.
This is Kevin. Years ago, it was hard to win on the road. Now it doesn't seem as hard anymore. You've won 4 in a row. Iowa went on the road last night and won at Wisconsin. What do you think has changed over the last few years? The teams are winning on the road a lot more now than in the past.
Yeah, I don't know who would say to you it's not hard to win on the road. I think you got to have a toughness about you mentally and physically. You got to be aggressive. I still think it's really, really hard. I don't know. If you ask me my opinion in our league, I think it's because of the parity. I just think there's a lot of really good coaches and a lot of really good teams with good players. And, if you don't have it that particular night and they do, anybody can beat anybody. I think our league's at that point right now. I think top to bottom, I think it's really, really, really good. So that's probably a part of it, I would say. But to say that it's not, it's easier to win on that, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
I guess as a follow-up to at least the parity maybe in the Big Ten, with 2 days left in the regular season, the number 1 seed and the number 14 seed are locked for the tournament, but 2 through 13 could all change by Sunday night. In your 5 years here, maybe in your time at Ohio State, have you seen the Big Ten maybe this closely packed together like that?
No, I have not. This is by far just my opinion. Someone else may have a different opinion, but in my opinion, during the stints that I've been in the league, I think it's as much parity as I've seen top to bottom.
Coach, this is Derek. You've had a number of teams go on late season runs, whether here or at Ohio. Personally, for you, does that experience help you at all in terms of approach or buttons to push, or is it really just all about being the same guy with this particular team?
For the most part, I'm the same. I don't change a whole lot, but certainly those experiences help. Going through those things, what I liked about them, what I might have done differently, what our staff can rely on that we thought was good, and as we prepare for different things, I think that's it's important to learn and grow and get better. As I said to you the other day, I told those guys, we had a lot of guys who've gotten better over the last 3 or 4 years, and I told them, I said, look, I certainly don't mean this egotistically at all, but I'm a lot better than I was 4 or 5 years ago too. We spend a lot of time at this, working at it, and whether it's team building or leadership or X's and O's or defensively or offensively or better ways to teach things or connect with guys or, we're asking our guys to get better. Well, guess what? I'm asking the staff and support staff within their roles to be cutting edge at what they do as well. And, my staffs, the assistants are better. Schmitty keeps getting better. Fletch is getting better. Like we all have that disposition that we want to learn and we want to grow and we want to be better. And certainly from those experiences, we've relied on a lot of those experiences that I think are helpful, that have made us all better.
Is that all? Okay.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend.